Good morning, A to Z Sports morning show live on a Tuesday morning. It's Easton Freeze, it's JT Runke. It's Thanksgiving week and we're talking Titans. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Tuesday. Better late than never. Love the smell of a mandatory computer update in the morning. But hey, we're here nonetheless, and we are talking about some Titans that are trending in the right direction. Talk about a Titans team that is trending in the right direction. Some good vibes on a Thanksgiving week. Looking forward to talking about some of these young guys, the rookie class that is, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, JT, get over our skis at all, but this is shaping up early on to be one of the better draft classes that the Titans have had, with the amount of contributors that they've had from basically everyone besides Femi Oladejo, who's currently hurt and can't contribute. Everybody else is making some kind of impact, and Khalil Mullings, who's also been hurt and is just now coming back. So really the only guys that have been quote-unquote disappointing so far, I feel like, are the guys that have been injured and not in the lineup. Now, we're going to talk about perspective on that and whether or not we need to be considering the fact that this team right now stinks. And hindsight is 2020. Sometimes it's easy to get over your skis a little bit on young players on bad teams because, well, they're on a bad team and there's not a lot of competition for them. And suddenly you get some talent around them and it's like, oh, maybe not quite the player we thought they were. Now, I'm not saying that's what the Titans rookie class is, but we're going to kind of go guy by guy and try to pick out who is the real deal and who might be benefiting from not having a whole lot else going on around them in their position room. And then we're going to talk about the direction the Titans are trending the rest of the year, what we think we can spin forward knowledge-wise from the Seahawks game. What do we think we learned about the Titans for the remaining, 6 games left on their schedule? They've got a couple of difficult ones left. They got a couple of quote-unquote easy ones left, and they are still in the first position in the draft order. Do we think that's going to stay that way based on how they played against Seattle, based on how Cam Ward played against Seattle? So a lot of questions to ask, a lot of questions to answer. I see a lot of folks are already in the chat. JT, tell them what they need to do before we can get started.
Yeah, good morning, A to Z Sports crew. What's up? Good to see all of you guys this morning. It's a third string Tuesday. It's a third string rest of the week because Austin is taking off for his brand new window installation.
Have you all heard?
Have you all heard
Austin
that
he's getting Windows
is,
today?
Getting Windows.
I'm not sure we've shared that on this show, but he is getting Windows today.
And that means that you're stuck with us the rest of the way. Maybe that's a good thing because it's a short week, so you're not actually stuck with us for a long week, but you are stuck with us.
They get the blessing of us to end the short week. Okay.
Yeah, so
listen, everybody needs a little Austin Stanley break every once in a while. I'll say it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but it's going to be a good show. Backwards hat day because Austin's here. He can't tell me what to do, so I'm going to do it. Has
Austin told you to turn your hat forward before?
No, but I'm
okay. I didn't know if he was real.
I feel like there's an
Austin Stanley, Colin Cowherd, forward hat guys.
I feel like there's an etiquette to this sometimes, and you know what? I'm just not going to do the etiquette today. I'm not.
I respect that.
Can't be bothered on a short week.
I join you, but I don't look good with backwards hats. I don't think it's not really my. It's not really.
Yeah,
my thing.
Don't do it. No,
it's not good.
No, yeah, just don't like it.
I don't either.
Either way, good to see all of you guys this morning. Before we jump into our discussion on the trending rookies that are making an impact, need a couple things from you guys first and foremost. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you could smash that like button, not just hit that, smash that like button.
Break your computer.
Yeah, break the computer.
Crack your phone screen.
Like the show, and while you're down there smashing that like button, if you haven't hit subscribe, press subscribe real quick. Just gently tap subscribe over there so that you don't miss out on any of the content we are bringing you guys here on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook, we do appreciate you watching over there. If you could hit that like button as well. Only I can see the numbers. Only a third of you have liked the show over on Facebook. That is simply unacceptable.
Get on it.
Pump those numbers up. Hit that like button. Make sure you've also liked the page and share the show at the bottom right corner with the Titans fan or friend of yours that wants to talk about these young rookies this morning. And with that, Easton, yeah, people are saying I'm a rebel. I do what I want. And let's get going.
This JT guy, he marches to the beat of his own drum, let me tell you. We've got so many nicknames, you and I, as a duo. We've got Third String Thursday. This is a new one. Phone It In Tuesday. Okay. I like that. Let's get the show started. Welcome in.
Said, it's the X slander crew today, which I think is wildly.
I've been slandering incorrect. X? I haven't slandered X once.
Apparently.
Paul Karski's not on the show this morning. Welcome into the A to Z Sports Morning Show, live on a Tuesday morning, powered by BTA Sports. We're live every weekday morning, except this week, not for Thanksgiving. So we're live for the first 3 weekdays of this week at 8 Central Time, 8:10 Central Time, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Our links are tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter feed at AtoZSports. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage as well. And follow us on Google with the link that I sent in the chat just a moment ago. You can favorite A to Z Sports as a preferred source of yours on Google. It will help out you in your search for good sports journalism, and it will help out us in terms of getting more authority with Google. So it's a win-win if you ask me. Go click that link, follow us on Google, and follow other sources that you like on Google. You can customize your feed. It's pretty cool. Got to thank our sponsors for making the show happen and helping out you guys at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. boneandjointtn.org is where you can find them. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, so buy a golf cart with our friends at Botero Carts with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin, boterocarts.com. And finally, Window Nation. They're currently busy with Austin, but once they're done with Austin, they can help you all out if you want to take advantage of Window Nation's end-of-year sale through November. 50% off all window types. You could get 0% interest financing for 5 years as well, and they do all of this in one day for you, which begs the question, why did Austin Stanley take 2 days off if we advertise that the windows get done in one day? The world may never know.
Because he wants to take an entire day to stare at the silver in his windows. By the way, did you know there's silver in Windows?
He's mentioned that once or twice. Yeah, so there's an installation day and then there's an admiration day, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we've got a big docket to get through today. So let's dive into the top of the show and talk about some of these young guys. And I want to talk about the idea of good players on bad teams, JT. And I teased it in the open, but it's something that I think, frankly, the past couple years worth of Titans teams, really ever since, well, yeah, the last 2 years of Vrabel and the first year of Callahan, all 3 of these losing seasons where they've trended in the wrong direction. I feel like personally maybe learned some lessons on the perspective needed on bad teams to know who is and isn't the real deal, quote unquote, and who, I don't mean to slander anybody, but like there are some players that simply convince you that they are better starters in the NFL than they might otherwise be on a team with real talent. And so when we're looking at this Titans team that's starting 17 rookies or whatever the heck it is, my antenna go up and say, okay, the odds of all of these guys, well, let's say this team is real competitive in 2 years, right? A third year of these rookies' contracts, third year of their NFL careers. And they've built up a team, Cam Ward hits, they built up a team around them, and it's a team that's, threatening to win 10 games a year. Not a Super Bowl contender or anything, but an upper half of the league kind of team. How many of these rookies, besides Cam Ward, because in that scenario, Cam Ward does have to hit, how many of them are still the starters that we know them to be today? And that's kind of what I want to dive into. Not to ruin an otherwise happy segment, because the crux of this conversation, JT, we wanted to talk about how a lot of these guys are all trending in the right direction. We just want to be cautiously optimistic about them, not blindly optimistic about them.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the last 2 draft classes specifically, I feel like this has happened quite a while. We come out of the year after they lose 10, 11 games or so, and you look at the draft class and you say, there are things to build on, right? There's last year, you have Tavondre Sweat and J.C. Latham to build on. You have Jarvis Brownlee Jr. to build on. You have, maybe Cedric Gray turns into something. James Williams, Jalen Harrell. Like, you have all these guys to build on. This is great. And then look what happens. Like, we are having the conversation that JC Latham is a bust on the Twitter streets, and T'Vondre Sweat has kind of regressed a little bit from his rookie season form, and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is no longer here. You go back and you do the year before, right, with Peter Skoronski, and Tyjae Spears and all of those guys, Josh Wiley, who some are not here and some, have come into their own. Certainly Peter Skoronski is a guy that I think you can say is a building block of this group, but Tyjae Spears, has had his injury luck go the wrong way, and some of those other guys that you thought were maybe going to be promising guys to build on has not. They're not here anymore, right? And so it's an interesting conversation in how we look at previous draft classes and say it's fun to talk about them now as building blocks and guys who are stepping up right now and get super excited for what they can be in the future. But once again, same thing we kind of did for a lot of those guys. Is Marcus Harris truly a guy who is the real deal, or is he simply playing above his weight because he's being asked to play more snaps? Is Kevin Winston Jr. the real deal? Is Chimere Dike the real deal? Gunnar Helm? All of these guys, are they the real deal, or are they simply playing more snaps than they would normally get? You can look at just that from the Titans perspective as a whole. I mean, the number one trade target guy that the Titans wanted to ship and actually did ship off was Roger McCreary at the trade deadline. And he went to what I think me and you would argue is the best team in the NFL right now, and barely can crack the starting lineup on defense. And
was
so
a no
what
question
is that
starter in Tennessee.
Yeah. What does that say about
where the Rams
him?
don't have, it's not like the Rams have some, I wouldn't say the Rams secondary is the strength of their otherwise incredible team. You know what I mean? Like they traded for that player because they needed guys that could play at that position. And even still, he's not a no doubt starter.
Yeah. And certainly that's the question I think we need to ask. Are these guys, while they are trending up, are they actually ascending? Are they just fool's gold because they're playing a lot more snaps? I think that's going to be interesting to look at down the stretch, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think as well.
So, first of all, I'm going to send this link that I said I sent earlier, but I realized I just put it in the text box and it didn't hit send. So nice. Now the link to follow us on Google. Do that. Click that now. We appreciate that. I'm also going to send our first question so that we can get the audience involved here.
Yeah, we're up to 50% on the like button. The viewer to like button ratio on Facebook is now 50%. We're getting there.
But now I'm wondering what the other half of the people are doing. Like, what's their excuse? You know what I mean? Here's our first question today that we want to get you guys chiming in on the Facebook and YouTube live chat. Scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you that these Titans are actually filling roster holes with this rookie class? Scale 1 to 10. Also, feel free to throw any comments in there about specific guys that you think are or are not guys that can be a part of the future. We're going to play some clips from interim head coach Mike McCoy on some of the young defenders here in just a moment. We're going to talk through each individual guy and give our perspective. But overall, what is your feeling, scale of 1 to 10, your confidence level that they are actually filling holes with this rookie class? And while you are answering that, I'll tell you about our friends over at the Bone and Joint Institute. Let me tell you, they are no fool's gold. They are the real deal at BJI. They can help you through any type of injury. They are located right off of I-65 down here in my neck of the woods in Franklin, just a hop, skip, and a jump from downtown. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Check them out at boneandjointtn.org for whenever you get hurt in life, whenever you need somebody that you know you can trust. Bone and Joint is going to be there for you. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help you recover. It's all under one roof. They're not sending you running around town to a million referrals. Their clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, and rehab are all in the same building, so they will get you figured out, tip to tail. Schedule an appointment. Go to boneandjointtn.org today.
Shout out to our friends also at BTA Sports, BTA Better for Betters. Easton, I don't know if you know, but BTA certainly had the right line when we were totally trying to fade the Titans. BTA said, no, my friend.
Fair enough,
Titans have a better shot than you may think. They do cover that big spread, like they said, 85% of the time. that 85% of the time was indeed on Sunday. And so BTA, if you want to get more insight into the analytical breakdown of some of these lines, if you are a sports bettor that wants to beat the books, our friends at BTA Sports, which are not a sports book, are here to help you beat those pesky books. And right now, you can download the app and use code ATOZSports to get a 14-day free trial and then A to Z offer only $79.99 for the year. That includes the rest of the 2025 season, the playoffs as well, and also all of next year, up the full 12 months. So you get the 11, 12 weeks of next season as well. Mm-hmm. And that grandfathers you into all of the amazing things that BTA is bringing to their app, all the new updates, the new quality of life changes, the new features, all of those good things you get grandfathered into when you use that code. Make sure to use it when you download the app with the link in our show description or right below the title on Facebook. BTA Sports is better for bettors.
I tell you what, I love Thanksgiving week as a bettor. It is one of my favorite weeks of the year. And really, I know that degeneracy and the spirit of Thanksgiving maybe don't quite go hand in hand. But just think of it as the sports fans' Black Friday. You know what I mean? Like we all give thanks on Thursday, and then we engage in American consumerism and debauchery on Friday. And for me, that is betting. And there's even a Black Friday game. So that's how I'm grandfathering that in. I'll send you to the comments, JT. What are people saying? Our question was, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the Titans are actually filling roster holes with this rookie class? What are the folks saying?
Ashley kicks us off here and says she's going to give it right down the middle of the road, but not just right down the middle, just a little edge to the positive side, 5.5.
All right.
5.5 there. Titans Kyle, funniest guy in the world. Titans Kyle says 6.9. Corey says 8. Big says 6. 7.5. 7. Jason R says 6. Guy M says 7. Eric, who also is competing for funniest guy in the world award, says 6.7. Daniel Perez says 9. Aaron says 6. 8.5. Darren says 5.5. 6.85 says Darius here. Randy says 9. Very confident. 7. 7.5. Jeff says 3. The wide receiver room is still bad.
So finally somebody that's not optimistic. This is the first one I've seen.
Z Wildcat says 2. Remember, Chad Brinker still has a job, and they depleted our quarterback room. Yeah, that was Chad Brinker's doing. That's just tough. Chad Brinker.
The devil. Chad Brinker.
David Allen says 7. Deborah says 7.5. Tall Texan says 3. Helm and DK are the guys that are the real deal for him.
So everybody
7.
else stinks. Just those two.
Yeah. Jake says a full 10. Demario says he's confident in Borgonzi with these picks, says 7. John says 8. Anthony says 8. Titans Kyle says DK, Helm, and Winston he thinks are legit. Still on the fence about the rest of them. He's Biggs also at the 6 saying that his guys that he thinks are the real deal are DK, Helm, and Femi, which I think is interesting. He also says, Winston. Anthony Key says 7.5. Edward says another funny guy of the year award candidate here says 6.7. Randy says 3.
A lot of entries for funniest guy of the year this morning.
Nero says 8. Curtis says 7. I think
that's enough numbers. My brain
I'd be
is
interested to see where this would be around, but I feel like we're like in the average of like a 6.8, 7 range, right? From the chat, if I had to guesstimate.
Agreed. And instead of you and I sitting here arbitrarily assigning our own numbers, I think our answers would be somewhere fall in that general range. Let's instead actually talk through some of these guys and boil down our opinions on each of them. Let's start with this clip from Mike McCoy on, let's start with Kevin Winston. He was the higher draft pick. He's a guy that I don't think anybody is displeased with how he's come along in the past couple of weeks. Obviously, it was a bummer to see the beginning of his rookie season stunted by the setback from an ACL return. But now that he's back and rolling, he has put together a couple of really nice performances, and his interim head coach agrees.
Kevin's gotten better every week. and you guys ask a lot of questions about him week in and week out, and I keep saying the same thing, that it's the improvement week in and week out. And it's just with experience, and I think playing back there with Hooker, multiple weeks now, and the way they communicate and being in, there's nothing like reps for the young players. And just, I think now with the experience, he's seeing things a lot quicker. And it's just, you becoming a pro, learning, it's not just playing on the field, it's the weekly preparation that leads up to the games. And now he's just flying around out there. But, I just love the way he practices, because he practices the same way he plays. But he's got a very, very bright future.
I had our buddy Drew Beatty on the Primetime show last week, and we were talking about his performance in the Houston game. And Drew was just over the moon happy with Winston. I had not, at the time of taping that, really watched the defensive film attentively, but since then I have gone through and watched most of his snaps, and I couldn't agree more with his general optimism. I have yet to watch all of the defensive snaps from this most recent week, but anecdotally, just noticing him on the television copy, looks to be playing pretty well. Still making rookie mistakes here or there, which are to be expected. He's really the main culprit for not having an extra defender on one of the big JSN completions downfield that, put Amani Hooker in a tough spot. Not sure him being over there would have really changed anything, because JSN, I do love how everybody's like, well, JSN killed us. Yeah, buddy, who has JSN not killed this year? Like every single week he has 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Every week, all of them.
Really, so far this season, I kind of put that out, and that JSN has beat the ever living crap out of anybody he's played, even the best of them. And
I was about to say, you put together a list of the guys JSN's beat this year. Pretty good company. Pretty good company on that list.
And so there's a lot of plays, I feel like, when you watch the Kevin Winston Jr. tape. I watched a little bit of it where he is, picking up JSN, and JSN still beats him, which I can't really fault him for that. It's just kind of like coughing baby versus nuclear bomb right now, based on where they are in their careers. And so I think, there's always going to be those mistakes, and he's a rookie getting a lot of these snaps on a young and bad team, right? And so there's not going to be, I feel like, for any of these rookies, I think you're not going to see perfect play, star-studded play, because
that's not what it's about, right? It's about the flashes.
And that's what you see from him. There's no doubt in my mind that the one thing you can take from Captain Coach speak, Mike McCoy, there in his answer, is how he the way he plays is the same way he practices. There's not been a doubt.
You and I can attest to that,
even
from
August,
back
from when Brian Callahan was the coach.
Yes.
This, all the way back in that timeline, he has always played with his hair on fire. And that is something that this team needs out of their rookies. That's the thing you need out of specifically a guy like that, because as some people put it in the chat here, yet another reminder, you have the guys in the backfield, in the secondary, that you need to step up there, and you need those hidden diamonds in the rough. You also had that a little bit in Jarvis Brownlee Jr., and he's gone. But I think this is kind of this regime's version of that. A guy who's always going to be in the secondary playing with his hair on fire. And he was a guy that, I remind you again, was, if he wasn't hurt, was going to be a projected early day 2, if not a day 1 guy. In the back half there, he was going to be up there with Nick Emanwari and Xavier Watts and all of these guys who are absolutely playing really good football. And so I think he is one of the guys that you can absolutely say he's trending up. He's not fool's gold. He's a guy that I can confidently next year, if I'm looking at a list of the roster, and be like, okay, who are the guys I can place as starters next year without even thinking about it? Mm-hmm. He's one of the guys I can put in there out of these rookies and say, set it and forget it. He's going to be starting next to Amani Hooker next year, and that's that.
Yeah, the anecdote that I was trying to share about Drew and totally sidetracked myself with JSN talk was that he was so over the moon about his performance in Houston, and I asked him half jokingly, like, how many more performances like that Houston game would you need to see from Winston to say that he's already the best safety on this team? And Drew's answer was like, one. Like, if he does it again.
I mean, it is rough out there right now.
Yeah, I think right now he may not be clearly head and shoulders better than the rest of the guys in that room, but I don't know how you can make an argument that somebody else is. Like, I think that he is already through really just three, because looking at his snaps, he has played basically 3 games now, once before the bye against the Chargers and now Houston and Seattle, where he's getting quote unquote starter shares of snaps, 30 or more snaps in a game. And he has 13 tackles over that time span, just 1 missed tackle, which is 1 more than he had in his entire college career, and that's one of his calling cards. I think that he's the real deal, and I know it's a really small sample size so far, but based on his tape in college and what we talked about all throughout the preseason process, where it's like this guy would have been drafted so much higher than he was had he simply not been recovering from an ACL injury, and had he simply not missed basically his entire senior year. Like, he would have been a borderline first-round pick. And that talent that you saw from when he did play in college is translating pretty one-to-one to what I've seen in these first 3 games. So I don't know if I'm trying to, like, play devil's advocate and say, well, here's the reason why he's fool's gold, I don't know what I'd point to. Like, I'm not even sure I can make an argument for right now. The only argument I can come up with is, well, it's only been 3 games, which isn't really an argument so much as it's not a negative grade. It's just an incomplete grade. So I just, as long as it's health, maybe that's what it is. As long as he stays healthy, I think that this guy is clearly a starting safety for you going forward, and you found him in the 3rd round, and that's an exciting, good thing. I think he's a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you also, like, he is nowhere near where he can, like, his top of the line play is still.
Agreed.
Right? I think that's also an important thing, because you still want more out of him. That's the thing. I feel like when we talk about this, we get a little complacent, being like, this is a guy that's going to be here for the future. I think we still should want and expect more out of him, because he has that potential. And if he can reach that potential, that's why I say he's going to easily be slotted right back in next to Amani Hooker, because if he can reach that potential to be a lockdown stud safety, I think that also makes Amani Hooker better again. And that's a whole nother conversation about him this offseason in his play. But Amani Hooker has always been a guy who relies a lot on the other safety that is out there around him to bring out the best in him. And I feel like that's hard to rely on a rookie to do that. And so that's why you need continuing to see more and more from him every week. It is still going to be very good. But I'm with you. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy is going to be a certified hit for the Titans. And even though they weren't able to potentially get a wide receiver on day 1 or day 2, and maybe that's where they were targeting one of those guys, knowing what we know now in hindsight, I would have taken Kevin Winston Jr. every day of the week over any of those wide receivers that might have been there.
I agree, and we're going to talk about the receivers they did take in the 4th round here in just a second. But so we'll move on from Winston. We agree, not a fool's gold guy. Some chatter in the comments about JSN. The guy on pace for 2,000 receiving yards? Yeah, he's pretty good. Agreed. A super chat from Big Ten Jeff. Guess who said 3 years ago they should draft JSN? Yeah, buddy, you and a lot of people. Folks love JSN in that draft, and I definitely think that in hindsight, you kind of regret not doing that, right? You got a really great player.
Would JSN be the JSN?
This is the question,
here?
And I think the answer is probably not. So shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about some of these other guys, because we're already half an hour in and we've got a number of guys to roll through here. I want to play another clip from Mike McCoy here in just a second on Marcus Harris. We'll stick on the defense and finish out these defenders with the 6th round cornerback who is playing a good deal more now than he has been. And we'll talk about him and the rest of the rookie class after I tell everybody about the folks that are over at Austin Stanley's house right now, Window Nation. We'll use the fun one today.
This is what he's looking at right now. This is what Austin's looking at.
POV, Austin Stanley this morning in his Nashville home. They are running an end-of-year sale right now that Austin took advantage of, and you all can too, but it only runs through November. So you got to give them a call at 866-90Nation or check out the website, windownation.com. ASAP if you want to take advantage of their 50% off all window style sale. They're also offering 0% interest financing for 5 years. So schedule a fast, free, did I mention free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation today. You're not on the hook for anything. If you give them a call and have them out, they can simply talk to you about what your options are. And then you, with no stress and no pressure, can weigh those options. Again, that's 866-90Nation, windownation.com. Replace those old builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from our friends at Window Nation.
Yes, Ann says they've got silver in them. They got
No
silver.
one knows what that means for the record. It just sounds cool.
Yes.
I'm sure it's important. I just don't know what it
probably
means.
is important. But either way, shout out to our friends also at BTA Sports. Once again, code ATOZSports when you download the app to get a 14-day free trial. $79.99 for the season pass. That is full 12 months. That's the year pass, actually. You get the rest of this season, the rest of weeks 1 through 12 of next season, 2026. It's an amazing deal, especially with the insights that they continue to bring as you try to beat the books and win some money. BTA Sports, where insight meets instinct. Use the code below or in the YouTube description.
Okay, Marcus Harris, let's play this clip from Mike McCoy on the young cornerback and then talk through what we've seen from him.
How would you assess the cornerback situation right now? I know Marcus Harris has, stepped up and started to play the nickel. It seems like you've been rotating guys in and out opposite of Darrell Baker at the outside corner spots.
Yeah, I think, Marcus is getting better every week. He had great pattern recognition early on there, broke the one ball up there, which was great to see him playing, and he's just getting better and better every week. I think that's the beauty of this game is when you play, the more you play, the more comfortable you get, the better he's playing. And then, Bake's done a nice job. And then on the other side, we've kind of been rolling guys through to see who the best combination is during the game and, what the calls are and how the flow of the game's going. So kind of just rotating guys with who we have right now.
He's a guy that when they brought him in camp, they were really using him a lot on the outside, which never quite made sense to me. I understood that he did that in college, and I don't think he's incapable. And it's not a physical, it's not a length thing like Roger McCreary, for example, where it's like, well, I just don't think you can hang out there. He's not the longest guy in the world, but he's not prohibitively short. I just don't know that he's the athlete to do that. And I think that he is at his best in the nickel, which is where they're playing him now. He's only played 122 total snaps this year, but he's got 8 tackles and 2 pressures, 5 receptions allowed. He's been perfectly serviceable. Maybe the best compliment I can give him is that in a cornerback room where there's a whole lot of and issues, he hasn't been a guy that has been a troublemaker in my eyes, for lack of a better term. And this past week against Seattle, again, anecdotally, haven't poured over the defensive tape yet. Watching the game in the press box, I heard his name a lot, and I saw him flying around the field a whole lot. I think he was involved in a lot of positive ways.
Yeah, he continues to not. I think that's the big thing with the cornerbacks. And once again, it's a lot tougher of a job.
Are you a liability? Right.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher of a job to be a liability, not be a liability on the outside when you are on the inside. It's you get away with it a little bit more there, but I do think he's proved that he's a guy that you can put in a rotation. I'm not going to say that he is a bona fide starter for this team going forward because he is a 6th round guy, has some of those limitations that hold him to the inside, and that's where you want him to be. But he has been, as I see right here from Mr. Clean, he's been good around the line of scrimmage. He's a guy who continues to make plays. He's not allowing a lot of big plays when they do happen. Like, he's taking care of his assignments, and that's something you need right now on a bad team. You get the job done, make sure, limit the mistakes. And so that's where he might be punching a little bit over his weight, right? He is doing the things that you need him to do on a bad team. And I think that's the most important thing right now. And so what that tells me is that if this team continues to get better, obviously they have 0 cornerbacks going into the 2026 season, in my money, for my money's worth on the outside. Does that mean that because obviously they have a lot of money to spend and they can maneuver around the draft and whatnot and go and find options there? However, is Marcus Harris right now a starter for 2026? Maybe out of necessity. I wouldn't feel great about it.
I think that he is, just because you feel fine.
Yeah.
You feel fine.
And certainly that's where we get into kind of the fool's gold, and we get into that little bit of a looking back at the last couple of seasons with some of these rookie classes. It kind of falls into that same conversation of James Williams and Jalen Harrell, like guys who we were huge on. He's like, this is a guy who could be a starter for this team next season, and this is a guy who continues to play just fine. But you obviously probably want someone with more upside than a Marcus Harris, but I think he is going to be a starter out of necessity. And I think that's the difference there, right? He's a starter out of necessity, but I'm not getting too hyped about him based on like winning these reps because he is a starter right now for this team.
So far, I feel comfortable saying he is going to be a starter the rest of the season and probably next year, simply because of how much work they have to do in that room. But I don't yet feel comfortable saying that he is a starting caliber corner in the league. Now, I don't want this to turn into us hating on guys that we think he's a fraud. No, I'm not here to say he's a fraud either. I just have not seen enough from him quite yet to say this guy is the solution at nickel, but that's why I think the next 6 games for him are pretty important. So he's a guy that we has tabbed as a maybe. You want to just knock out Chimere Dike, who I don't think anybody has any questions about. He is so
he's your wide receiver too.
Right. Exactly. My question is, okay, I think pretty clearly he is a guy that's real. So where does he actually slot in? Because he's not going to be, no matter how great the end of his year is, he's just not going to be a 1, I don't think, in this league. I don't think that, and I think that's not even a ceiling thing as much of it is a prototype thing. I don't think he's built to be a 1. Now, maybe he's a guy like JSN who just kind of breaks that mold and says, I'm an alpha, and 2 years from now we feel differently. But JSN was also the 18th overall pick. Chimere Dike was the first pick of day 3 in the draft. So there are pedigree things there in play. I think that he's a 2 at best, which is a great thing to have, and you need a 1 going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest target still for me in the upcoming draft. I think he can be your return guy and then also your wide receiver 2 in the slot. I think that's if you can have him be that. He can be versatile. I mean, you can put him at Z, you can put him at slot, wherever the chips may fall when you finally get down to it in 2026 with whoever you bring in, whether it be draft or otherwise. He's a guy that absolutely, I think, is because of that rapport he's building with Cam already. Like, I think that gets him the wide receiver 2 spot no matter what. And Elikai Manor still might turn into something. They still need a 1 regardless, but you cannot knock the production that you've seen from him so far this season, especially. And that's a guy that, once again, playing maybe above his weight class, having to be asked to be the wide receiver 1 right now for this Titans team. And that's a guy who is punching above his weight, but when he gets back down to where he probably fits into the grand scheme of things as a wide receiver 2, I still feel awesome about that right now. Certainly can be a guy that, as long as he is not the one that is going to need to demand the lion's share of targets, he's a guy that's I know is a reliable playmaker.
So this comment from RTP is a great transition to where unfortunately I have to talk about my boy next. DK's play makes the hindsight on all the takes from the draft pretty funny. Most of us said if you just flip the draft spots for he and Alec Iamaner, it looks better. We all did say that. And today, let's do a quick temperature check on Iamaner, who has I think it's fair to say trended down from where he was at narratively at the beginning of the season. Obviously, being hurt is a new wrench in that isn't his fault. It's just an unfortunate reality. But from before he got hurt, how do we feel about his play? We'll break that down, and feel free to jump in the comments, those of you that are with us live, to give your 2 cents on it while I tell everybody about our friends over at... Who do we want to do next? JT, I'll throw this one to you. Tell the folks I need to go buy a golf cart.
Yeah, when you realize life is short and you need to buy a golf cart.
When did you realize the life is short?
Got to do it with our friends over at Botero Carts. They make buying your new golf cart so easy. 0% financing for 36 months. Carts starting at just $6,700. Open 7 days a week with a full service sale and rental dealership that is locally owned and operated, with 2 locations to serve you here in the Middle Tennessee area. One at Gallatin, one in Columbia, their new location. They have no dealer fee, no credit card fees, so there's no hidden fees when you buy your shiny new golf cart, and it is shiny and new because they store them all indoor, out of the weather and the elements for your satisfaction and convenience. They also have a no credit needed option if you want to take that route. Life is short. Buy a golf cart, and when you do it with our friends over at Botero Carts.
We're powered by AtoZSports. Check them out. They're better for bettors. Use the link in the description below to sign up and get that app for cheaper than you otherwise could. You will make your money back at the sports books with the help of AtoZSports. I promise. They're fantastic. Use the link in the description below. JT, I'll send you the comments for any impromptu answers from folks on Alec Iamaner, since I threw that one out there. How do people feel on Alec today?
Let's see. CL Sadler. I believe I'm saying that right. It's hard
right
with these username things. He says, I have been less than impressed with Alec this season. Big says Iamaner is not fast and hasn't made enough contested catches. Darius says he's had some drop issues. That's been frustrating
and
for
drip
sure.
issues, apparently.
he did make up for it.
We hate his outfits.
Yeah, Nero just says straight up, Io is mid. So that's what he thinks. Bork says he's not a world beater, but he's a true X, and it lets everyone else play their proper positions. Darren says, which I think is the fair point here, says TBD on Iamaner, which I think is very fair. Coach Wills just says he's fine, which I think is also fair. Let's see. Papa Chapa says, asking rookie wide receiver class to get open when the defense knows our run game is trash. They are better than they look if we had a run threat. I think that's also a fair comment to have there. Jaquan Fitzpatrick says, Alec can be a player like Godwin in a perfect world, in his opinion.
Whoa.
There. Which
that's high praise.
Would be that'd be the upper echelon of that one.
I believe so, yes.
I think he's your 3. You hope Io is your X, number 2 receiver, but not likely there. I have some optimism about Iamaner, says RTP Joel, as a number 3 or a possible number 2, but it's hard not to be discouraged by the decline in production. Year 3 seems to be the breakout year for wide receivers around the league. Here's the thing with him. I feel like you can, when you say Iamaner is mid, or like, you've been disappointed, like that's what you were kind of signing up for Alec Iamaner. And I know I'm talking to the Alec Iamaner truther right here, but he was a guy that continued to fall more and more down the board. And I think it's fair to say that if the Titans didn't see the opportunity to double up on wide receiver for basically nothing in that trade with the Ravens,
literally nothing, a trade that still does not make any sense.
You look at it and say he probably would have fallen even more. He's a guy that, as a guy on the outside, has had some separation issues, has the drop issues going back to to college. And what have we seen so far? He is a outside guy that has separation issues and still is struggling with the drops. Like you basically have gotten what you signed up for. Now, that's not to say that, like some people are saying in the chat, TBD on him, because with the right coaching, with the right development, he can maybe turn into something. And I mean, we've seen that kind of take place with a guy like Quentin Johnston in, I believe, what is this now, year 3? Another guy who maybe had the more physical intangibles and traits coming out of college, where he was a first round pick, bigger body outside guy, but they said he just drops the ball all the time. And what did he do for 2 years? Drop the ball. Quentin Johnston now, at least in that first half of the season, when they did have that run game and the Chargers were clicking on all cylinders, you saw what the upper echelon of what he can be. That is where maybe he can be in 2.5, 3 years. But he's a guy that, once again, 4th round rookie, that certainly is a guy that you want in your locker room to begin with. He's not going anywhere. At least you would hope not, as long as this regime continues to stay together and they don't start sending him out like they did this year. He's a guy that's going to be around here for at least year 3 or 4. And so maybe by then we have a different answer, but I think he's going to be fine. If Alec Iamaner's your wide receiver 4 at the end of the day, I feel like great about that. If he's your wide receiver 3, I feel fine right now.
I'm going to be honest first, and then I'm going to cope in that order.
Okay.
So the honesty is, I'm an honest broker. I gotta be true to what I feel, even though my narrative, the train that I am conducting, is, I wouldn't say we're off the tracks by any means, but
you're running on fumes.
We are running. Yeah, we have a whole lot less steam than we had at the beginning of the year.
You're telling the passengers that you have about 25 miles to go and you only got about 3 miles left of fuel.
We need more coal somewhere, and I'm not sure where we're getting it from. If the crux of this conversation is who might be fool's gold in terms of quote unquote good player on a bad team kind of thing, he fits that bill a little bit to me right now. Now, obviously, with all of these guys, it's the case that it's all TBD. But if you made me pin it down today, that's where I come down on it. Here's the cope. I think that Alec is a classic victim of a poor developmental track because his team didn't have any other choice. I think that the way that he broke out pretty early on, and the need that this team had for somebody to play like the true X, and how little veteran help they had at the position, and frankly how much desire there was to maybe get some guys with a higher ceiling than the Tyler Lockett's and Van Jeffersons of the world out there early, pushed them to, I mean, he was a starter week 1, and he wasn't just a starter, he was playing a ton of snaps out of the gate. And for the first month and a half, he was the cardio king out there. He was playing so much, in terms of both running routes and being a blocker, because he's one of the better blockers on this team and one of the more willing blockers on this team at the receiver position. And I think that they ran him kind of ragged for a rookie. I think that he was not able to be eased in the way that you'd ideally want to ease in a rookie receiver. And I think that you kind of saw that he'd lost his legs once we got near the bye before he got hurt. Now, again, I understand that this is cope on my part, but I this is how I feel, to be 100% honest. And that's something that you have to get better at. Like, obviously, you have to learn to pace yourself and learn the endurance required to play in the NFL. And that's why we talk about rookie walls. But that's why it's called the rookie wall, not just the player wall, because it tends to happen for these guys when they're making that transition to the NFL. And so I'm also generally sick of us being in or out all the way on receivers as early as we are. We talk all the time about positions like tight end. Well, the narrative is like, well, it's a position that takes time, and we see guys break out in year 2 and year 3. So you never quite want to be all the way out on a guy. Give him time. receivers are also kind of that way in a different way. You're seeing like in good receiving cores, like in Houston, where they've got two really promising rookies. It took them forever to even break into the rotation, even though we think so highly of them. And it's like, well, it's because even though you may love, the upside of a Higgins over a Christian Kirk, there's just something about having been there and having reps that these teams trust and these teams value. And I don't love to use fantasy stats in the context of real football, but something that I saw the other day that was interesting to me. When you look at the receivers in the top 7 in fantasy points per game this year, it's JSN year 3, Puka Nacua year 3, Rashee Rice year 3, Drake London year 4, George Pickens year 4. It's these guys in year 3 and 4 really breaking out. Now, it's not to say that these guys were all bums until year 3 or year 4. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying guys peak a couple years into their careers. And even though we have seen some rookies really explode in a way that maybe is a new trend recently, like these rookie receivers feel kind of plug and play in a way that they used to not be, that doesn't mean that every guy is that way. And so all of that is my Alec Iamander cope, where I'm not out on Alec by any means, but if you made me identify guys that may be players that got more run this year as a result of being on a bad team and being in a barren room, he fits that bill right now, and I'm looking forward to maybe the jump that he can make from year 1 to year 2, because year 1 is trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if we, both the bye and then also this injury is a nice break for him. Maybe we get him back for the last 3 or 4 games of the season. Maybe there is a opportunity for him to end the year on a good note and kind of carry that momentum into next year. But I think right now, TBD on him is perfectly fine.
Okay. Let's see. I'm staring at our second topic today, and I'm also staring at the fact that you and I have to do a show tomorrow on something. And I'm wondering if we tease it and do it tomorrow, because I think it's worthy of more time than we can give it 51 minutes into the show. What we're going to talk about is spinning this whole conversation forward. If we're seeing progress from a lot of these guys, and we are, whether we think they're fool's gold or not, there is progress here from pretty much everybody.
It's
in
the
rookie
best.
class.
It's the greatest loss in the history of the Tennessee Titans this week.
That's
with
what
the
I'm
way
being
people
told.
are talking.
It's what I'm being told.
Heads are being held high by Mike McCoy for barely
Real chipper, that
barely eking out a cover in garbage time in this game. So
yes. So that was going to lead us to ask, after that game, how do we feel about the Titans the rest of the season? We talked a good bit around the bye week about what we expect from them win-wise the rest of the year and where we expect them to finish in the draft order. And I think there's also an interesting question to be asked. Who do we feel like is the team at the bottom with the Titans most likely to, quote-unquote, steal the top pick by the end of the year? And I think we'll talk about all that tomorrow. So that's your assignment. Spend the next 24 hours thinking about the Titans the rest of the season, now that we have seen them for a couple of games do some things that are exciting. And look at the schedule and come back tomorrow with your answers on where you expect this team to finish and what you think we'll see from Cam Ward and company the rest of the way. A couple of comments to get to, and then we'll throw some shade. And I've got a good one today, JT. I don't know if you have thought about this at all yet, but I've got one that I know you and I are on the same page about, so you can at least piggyback off of mine. We do need to tell folks about Barton Drury Insurance Group. So let me real quick make the sales weasels happy and make our buddies at Barton Drury Injury Group happy, because they are a fantastic local option if you need insurance. And if you are living and breathing in today's society, you need insurance. It's kind of a requirement. So if it's a requirement, at least do it with some folks that you trust, that you know can do a good job for you. And that's who we recommend, Barton Drury Insurance Group. Check them out at bartondrury.com. They are customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They're a one-stop shop for both personal and business insurance. So whatever you need, they've got it. They've been doing this for 40 years, serving Tennesseans in the Middle Tennessee area. They're local. They strive to provide excellent service, but they also take the time to make sure you understand your insurance policy. They sell employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comps, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. So for all of your surety bond needs, go and check them out, bartondrury.com.
Yeah, also shout out one more time. We are powered by BTA Sports, BTA Better for Betters. Use that code ATOZSports when you download the app, either in the show description or right below the title on YouTube, to get a 14-day free trial, and then either the weekly pass of $9.99 or the $79.99 yearly pass that gets you all of those amazing features. Once again, BTA Sports is better for betters. Easton, people are saying, so the third string squad going to cut the podcast short. We're not. We're
cutting it short. We're 55 minutes in and have another segment to do. What do you want us to do? 2 hours of podcasting this morning?
Yeah.
Come on.
Why do 2 hours today when we could do 1 hour today and 1 hour tomorrow and make our lives so much easier?
That's what I'm saying.
That's efficiency.
A couple of comments here. Jeffrey asks, if it's TBD for Alec, is it TBD for Femi? If you ask me, the answer is absolutely yes. Now, if you ask stooges around the market, like, I don't know, our buddy Zach Lyons, he'd tell you he was already a bust before he even played a snap in the NFL. I was higher on Femi than most. I will throw that out there as important context, but I definitely think that he's somebody, injury or not, I was going to wait until year 2 or year 3 to really make a judgment on.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's a guy that I liked. Certainly, if you switch the Kevin this is another topic. If you switch the Kevin Winston and Femi pick, do you feel better? Do you feel better about those respective players? Probably.
Yes.
I think it is just that you take him at 52 there. That makes you not feel great, but I think it's also TBD. It's impossible.
Little sticker shock there.
Yeah, I think so.
A super chat from Anthony from earlier that we need to get to. Do you guys think it's time for us to see Jackson Slater at right guard moving forward? Also, some people think this class can be the best ever. Your thoughts? Now, generally, the best ever thing is a real TBD. If Jackson Slater becomes the starting right guard of the future, Cam Ward is a franchise quarterback, Kevin Winston is a above average starting safety, Femi develops into a starting edge 2 or edge 3, like a rotational guy at the very least, Chimere Dike is a real wide receiver 2, Alec Iamaner is a real wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4. Like, if all of those things, if that parlay hits, then yes, I would say it's the best Titans class ever. But we are so far from that parlay hitting. Is it trending well? I'd say yes. But there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And I think it has the potential to be, but right now, definitely can't say that.
The parlay ticket, instead of not having a cash out option, now has like a 4-cent cash out option on like the $5 play.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it does, like, Cam hitting makes that parlay no matter what happens with the rest of that class. Cam hitting and being the guy for the next 5 to 7 years is going to make the class look infinitely better for the rest of time. The Jackson Slater of it all, at this point, like, it's a hard conversation, because I do think, for what it's worth, like, Kevin Zeitler does look a little washed out there, but
it's not
great. Is that still better than, like, throwing Jackson Slater out there into the fire, a guy who maybe is not totally ready? Because it'd be interesting to see the young guys out there working all together, but with how this offensive line still needs a lot of help, and certainly you don't want to end the season right now with Cam Ward having any type of injury. Like, I don't know if I'd want to see him out there right now. I'm excited about the prospect of him, but I think the smarter move is to hope that Zeitler, the professional that he is, can turn things around. And hopefully, if not for anything else, if this is a guy that, still wants to play in the league after this year, needs to put some things on tape that show that he can still be a respectable stopgap starter, at least.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Anthony. It's an impossible question to answer, because our only frame of reference for Slater is what we've been told. And what we've been told is that he's done, it's all positive things, and that he's trending well, and that he's definitely going to be in the mix to earn the starting spot in the offseason. But I've also been told if he was thrown out there today, there's a real chance he'd get exposed. And that's just the developmental track of a guy like that. And as disappointing as Zeitler has been at times, he's not getting Cam killed. And if there's any fear that putting Slater out there might get Cam killed, because all it takes is one bad hit, right? One whiff, one missed assignment for the entire trajectory of Cam's career to change. Then I completely understand the Titans continuing to roll out the high floor, trustworthy, at least don't get our guy murdered guy in Kevin Zeitler. But I definitely think that Slater will have the inside track to earn the starting job in the offseason, which we've kind of felt that way since he was drafted. Okay, that's it on comments. That's it on everything for today's show besides throwing shade. So now it's time for you all to jump in the comments. Whatever is on your mind that's ticking you off this morning.
But also,
that's right.
Jump back into the comments.
It's it for Titans comments. We're now transitioning to our complaining comments. So any complaints you have, throw them in the comments and we will read them. JT and I will share our, I almost said primary complaint. Old head Nashville folks know where that came from in my brain. Different actually, it's kind of the same segment by a different name. It is throwing shade. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com or Wilson County Hyundai in Lebanon in person. I tried to say both of those things at the same time and it came out as gibberish. They can hook you up with a new ride. Payne Bowen, check him out. Go meet our friends in Lebanon at Wilson County Hyundai. I am going to go to the comments here and see, have you identified any shades from the people?
Yeah, you want me to star them for you?
You might as well. That would be nice.
Okay.
Z Wildcat says, oh, you don't want to handle this one. I'm throwing shade at A to Z for not being at Margaritaville after the Titans game. We are no longer doing that. I'm sorry if it sounds like you came and we weren't there, and I really do feel bad about that, but that partnership has ended. So just a quick programming note on that front. Bork says, shade on the B team cutting it short today. We're over an hour right now. We're at an hour and 1 minute. So I don't know how long you think these shows typically are, but your perception of time is, I'm bringing it into question. Ann, hello Ann, shade on Jan, Ann's mom Jan, for saying she was going to get me giblets for my giblet gravy and only getting liver and heart and not getting gizzard. Come on, Jan. That's a crazy sentence. Ann's mom Jan said she was going to get Ann giblets for giblet gravy, but only got liver and heart and didn't get gizzard. There's a lot of words in there that I don't typically say.
Yeah, sure.
Giblet gravy. I don't even know. I couldn't describe that to you. I don't know what that is. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving related. This feels very much like, like the Native Americans. They use every part of the bird to honor the legacy. Like this feels like we're finding ways to turn non-food portions of the bird into food. But I also am not sure what a giblet is.
Listen, maybe
is this part, right?
I guess, yeah.
Because as comedy mind of our generation, crap, now I'm blanking on his name. Bo Burnham once said in the song, "Itchy gizzard." Do you get what I'm referencing there?
Yes.
I think that's what this was. Anyways, just seeing if there was any input from you on that. Apparently not. Big Ten Jeff says, shade on Zach Barnett of Football Scoop. Don't know who that is. But he wrote an article titled, Julian saying, shouldn't win the Heisman, let alone be a candidate. And the first line is, confession, I haven't watched Ohio State that much. That's awful journalism. That's funny. That reminds me of the guy. Did you see the guy on Twitter this week who's clearly trolling and he's getting the reaction that he wants? But he was like, Cam Ward stinks. Shedeur Sanders is good or whatever it is. And people were like, what are you talking about? Have you even watched Cam? And he's like, no, I'm not. I'll just watch. I'll look at the metrics when they come out. Why would I watch when I can look at the advanced metrics? Which is not even it. Like, if you're going to be a troll, don't be so obvious.
Apparently you said it wrong. Apparently it is giblet, not giblet.
Oh, so that shows what I know. But that sounds.
They're asking if we're from. Someone's asking, are you guys even Southern? I am not. Easton is. So that's more. That's more on. And I knew it was. I let you flounder.
Thank you. I'm Southern, but I'm not like. I don't know. I guess I'm not Southern culinary guy. Like, I was raised in a mostly Italian household, so that's not really Southern. That's that's a whole different thing. I don't have a whole lot of experience to like meals that involve collard greens. Let's put it that way. But I do love collard greens. I think I like the food. I just don't have a whole lot of experience with it. Bork says, Real shade is being on call even though I'm off today. Well, I don't know what you do, Bork, but whatever it is, that's annoying to be on call. Like, are you working or are you not working? That's what I would ask your boss. Like, what's the deal here? Eric says, shade on the Colorado State quarterback, again with the spitting. Spitting is back, man. Like, I don't know.
It's never been more back.
It's the year of the spit, apparently, because folks be out here spitting on each other. So, I don't know what to make of that. D. Reed, shade on Austin and Easton for not understanding the Mortal Kombat reference yesterday.
It was tough.
You got it?
Tough. Yes.
So this is like a really common thing?
Yes.
I'd never heard it in my life. And Austin certainly hadn't.
Have you ever played Mortal Kombat in your life?
Not even a little bit.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, sorry about it. D. Christophel, shade on my boss yesterday during our meeting, trying to foreshadow us working weekends because he's going to start working weekends. We don't get owner benefits and money. You got it, boss. Yeah, tell your boss that he can work by himself on the weekends unless he wants to. Like, show me the money is what I'd be saying. Sharman says, shade on the refs at the Utah KSU game. They need to come up with a better way to allow players to substitute and not what a ref seems as reasonable time. I do hate rules and officiating that are subjective like that. That is annoying. Coach Wills, shade, biggest downfall of the 2025 season. Easton and JT turning heel. Biggest haters of joy in the Titans universe. Clearly, you're not familiar with our friend Paul Kaharski because we have not taken that title from him. I promise. I also think that y'all are soft. Get over it.
I expect better.
Raise your standards.
Maybe it's fair because it's 1-10 and people are so beaten and broken at this point, but like, I don't know.
Also, we've done 2 morning shows this week. They have both primarily been about positive progress from this team. Like, it's been sunshine and rainbows on the show. Everything I've written this week and everything I'm planning on writing today has been positive. Where's this hate that you are so bothered by? What are we talking about? Like specifically, what is he pointing to? I don't even know what he's referencing.
He's probably pointing to how Chimere Dike is actually better than Jonathan Taylor and CMC this year.
No, hang on, that's my shade. That's my shade. That's my shade.
Okay.
But yeah,
maybe also that we aren't over the moon ecstatic for a 2 for 26 performance on Sunday.
I don't know. I think he's the future. RTP says, shade on Mike McCoy for trying to be funny press conference bit guy now after weeks of being the worst at the microphone.
Absolutely.
Agreed. This persona he has taken on his last 2 press conferences would have been perfectly fine and nice if he had started a month ago, but he didn't. So you don't get to be that guy now that you, again, lost another game. Jason McDonald says, my complaint this week is about the Nashville sports media. Oh, good. We don't get those very often. You're not obligated to build an entire narrative around the worst fan opinions. You can literally just not. #Restrepo. So is he mad we're talking about Restrepo so much? Or is he mad we're not giving Restrepo more love? What do you think he's actually mad about here? He sounds like a Restrepo hater, is my guess.
You're not obliged to build an entire narrative around the worst fan opinion. I mean, probably anti-Restrepo?
I think he is, but I don't know. Feel free to correct us, Jason. But your complaint is taken under advisement. Any other... Austin says, Easton is from the South, but not Southern. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the most Southern thing about me? I don't have a Southern accent. I don't have a ton of experience with, like, Southern food. I think the most Southern thing about me is that, I'm a hospitable, not asshole of a person. Like, unlike you Northerners who are just jerks, you know?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's probably the most Southern thing about me, but that's a generic Southern thing to just be nice to people. I don't know what else about me is really all that Southern. I have family that lives in Manchester, Tennessee, and that's my exposure to Southernness when I go visit them. But that's about it. Okay. Well, my shade, which we've already foreshadowed, is that we continue to talk about all-purpose yards to make Chimere Dike sound good, which I know you and I agree on this. Like, we keep seeing this list every week. It's like, did you know Chimere Dike leads the NFL in all-purpose yards? And here's the list. And it's Chimere Dike, dual returner on the team that's returning 1 trillion kicks because opponents are scoring 1 trillion points on them every week. And then 7 guys who are all skill position players who aren't returning jack squat and are getting actual yards. This is not to discredit Chim Dike. He is, I would etch his all-pro status in stone at this point. I think that he is an all-pro. I think that he has been a screaming success story for the Titans. He rules. He's doing as good as he possibly could be doing right now at the role that he's in the situation that he's in. So why do we keep using the dumbest possible framing to prop him up? And it's not even just that it's dumb. It's that to non-Titans folks, like, here's the perception from folks that aren't Titans fans that see this when you're trying to hype up Chim Dike. It makes his resume for being an all-pro success story sound hollow to anybody that has even a lick of football IQ who looks at that list and says, well, isn't he a punt and kick returner? And the rest of these guys aren't. And this is an all-purpose yards list. So he's like returning kicks and getting out to the 20 or the 25 every single time and just like stat padding. Like it makes his resume look hollow when it's not. It's not a hollow resume. He's doing awesome things.
He's the best. He's the best returner in the game. Just maybe put him up against. If you want to talk about all-purpose yards, in that, put him up against other returners. Then, like in his lane, like Correct. It shows he's producing. That's all. He's producing on like something else that, like, as Edward says here, it shows he's producing. That there are different.
No, what it shows is people say, "Wait, he's a returner." Production. Okay, and then they go Chimere DK's stats in their computer, and they're like, "Okay, how many of these are actually like receiving yards?" And then they realize the answer is, 252 of them. Fraud. That's what people think immediately. Like, you're setting him up to be a fraud in the eyes of people that aren't Titans fans, and that's a disservice to him because he's not a fraud. He's fantastic.
Yes, I think it's a dumb stat. Like, if you're going to show how good Chimere Dike is, put him up against where he's excelling, which is other returners, because he still would blow all the other returners out of the water. But like putting him up against Jonathan Taylor, who's having an MVP caliber season, is pretty silly.
Yeah, MB says, Easton, your explanation doesn't explain the punt returns. That means your defense is getting the opposite offense off the field. Okay, so he has what? Like, his all-purpose yards are 1,700 or something like that right now? Somewhere in that range? So how many of them are receiving yards? We established as 252. How many are punt return yards? 285. 1,200 of his yards are kick returns, and that's the part of his game that's the least impressive. Like, it's not that, first of all, he's a good kick returner. He's had some impressive, he has a 71-yard kick return on his resume. He has, last I checked, like 2 of the 5 longest kick returns of the year. I don't know if that still holds, maybe 2 of the top 10, whatever it is. He's had a couple big ones, and they've been very good. But his average is 25.7 yards, meaning he's getting out to roughly the 25 or the 30 each time, which is what you want, but that's pretty standard for good returners around the league. It's what he's doing in terms of the upside of the ones that he's breaking, and then as a punt returner, housing 2 touchdowns and generally being fantastic on punt return. His average 23.8. Now that's a nice number, right? Like averaging almost 25 yards of punt return is 2.5 first downs for your offense. That's a big fat deal, and obviously he has 2 touchdowns there. But he's only returned 12 punts. Because the Titans defense doesn't get other teams off the field very often.
Yes, absolutely. It's very silly to me to put him up against guys who are not returning kicks and punts there. Because I do agree with the sentiment that showing him on a graphic, or a graphic that has Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey and Puka Nacua, like, is just so misrepresentative of blah, 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 blah.
Representative, I agree. Ramen Will says, Easton, nobody that's not a Titans fan is looking that up. JT and I can attest that that is literally not true, because we are in group chats with friends of ours who are not Titans fans, who literally did this yesterday, sent us that tweet with the all-purpose yards, and is like, only 250 of these guys' yards are real. It was now that's a dumb way of putting it. But you got to think about what fans of other teams do. Like, they're going to put in minimal effort. They're going to look up how many of these yards are receiving yards, and they're going to be like, what is the point of this guy being on this list? This feels like classic narrative building using stats, and it's just not. We got to quit using that one to describe how awesome he's been, because he has been awesome. He is an all-pro. But that list is dumb. It's dumb.
I agree. Jason came back with his Restrepo. He says, I don't have a hard opinion on Restrepo. I'm just exhausted with the media ranting about bad fan opinions. It's like doing a 20-minute rant about flat earthers. It's meaningless.
That
That's
I understand.
That's kind of my stance on it, and maybe that's why I'm like, I probably am not going to take any more discourse on it. I'm just gonna, if it happens, I'm like, cool. If it doesn't, I don't care. Like,
Okay.
I'm so tired of it. Either way, but I get that. That's so fair.
All right, JT, I think it's time for us to cut today's show short at the
I didn't get my
75-minute
shade.
mark. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
You want to finish the show with a real bad take? That
Is it bad or is it controversial but good?
I think it's controversial, and you're gonna disagree with it.
Okay, let's hear it.
My shade is on Thanksgiving meals. I think the meal you have at Thanksgiving is the worst meal of all time.
Worst me. That's being inflammatory for the sake of a take. You don't believe that.
I
The worst
literally
meal of your entire year.
I literally have growing up dreaded Thanksgiving.
3 meals a day for 365 days. 1,100 meals you have a year. Thanksgiving meal is the 1,100th on your list ranking.
It's probably up there. it's probably close to the
So
bottom.
what in the Thanksgiving? And this is
Coach
breaking
Will
a
says,
cart.
"See, hater of joy." I like.
You're not beating
I've
the allegations on this one.
Sounds like JT has. Maybe this is also fair. Like, I'm not gonna throw my family under the bus, but I can
I
say
will. You have bad cooks.
my family can cook everything else besides Thanksgiving probably a lot better. So maybe that is fair.
Okay.
However,
Generationally bad Thanksgiving cooks in the Runkey household.
I mean, listen, it's a Midwestern white people Ohio Thanksgiving. So maybe my standards need to be
No
raised.
seasoning. Everything is dry and plain.
But
This is breaking a cardinal sin of sports media. It was like nobody cares about Thanksgiving talk, which I generally
apparently
understand.
everyone does.
I know. But okay, so last question I'll ask you: What in the dinner
And here's the thing,
is your
people are
like
now
least
gonna-
favorite? Like, what do
See,
you hate
this is-
about the dinner? What food items are terrible?
So,
No one likes the turkey. That's a straw man argument. Like everyone agrees, turkey is actually the least interesting part of the meal.
I want it to be so much better though. That's the point. The main part of the meal is the worst part.
But the rest of it's incredible. Stuffing,
Eh,
fantastic.
I hate stuffing.
Sweet potato casserole, fantastic.
Eh.
Mac and cheese, fantastic.
Okay, mac and cheese is great.
Broccoli casserole, fantastic. What else
Eh.
people have? Various sauces and gravies, always a good time. You know?
Yeah.
Cornbread, who doesn't love cornbread?
I like cornbread. I wish the turkey was better.
You just have a turkey issue, but everyone has a turkey issue. Do a ham. Hams are great.
I would rather
get a zero effort too. Just go get a honey baked ham from the store,
and
they're
this
great.
is why. So this is why, and this is the problem with also this translates to sports media as well. I say that I don't like Thanksgiving meal,
Mhm.
and this immediately turns into JT has no taste buds. JT has no culture. JT thinks mayonnaise is too spicy.
They're all right about you, by the way.
This is
These are all
not true.
true
This
things.
is the problem. This is the problem with specifically the Tennessee Titans fan base and media. I say one thing and we take it to the extreme. And
That's
I
not
like
a Titans thing. That's a human nature thing, man.
I guess that's fair.
So what? Okay,
You
what is
know
your,
me.
what is your favorite
my-
like formal sit down dinner? Like a you know, a nice family dinner with a full spread. What kind of food is your favorite? If you hate Thanksgiving food options,
Like if are you asking me for like what I would want to do on
I'm saying if
Thanksgiving?
you are hosting your whole family for a real nice dinner and you get to choose the food that is being served, what is your favorite option for a nice sit down family meal?
I would probably do steak. I maybe like steak or salmon on the grill
Mm-hmm.
with, I mean, you know me, I do every single known pasta sauce from scratch on the planet Earth. So we'd
you're just
probably do
describing a
that.
steakhouse menu: steak
Yes.
and surf and turf and pasta.
Yes.
Go to Cheesecake Factory then.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, where you can get a
Why?
little of everything. You get a little of everything at Cheesecake.
And says Ann says this white boy, this boring white guy, gonna say steak. She
It was
me.
extremely predictable that you were going to say steak. By the way, extremely predictable. Okay, now we'll cut the show short at the 80-minute mark. Appreciate everybody sticking around to banter with us. A little extra bonus time since we're going 3 shows this week, taking off Thursday and Friday. But it will be JT and I back tomorrow for part 2 of today's rundown. We will talk about where the Titans are going to finish, if they're going to win any more games. If so, what games are they going to win? Why are they going to win them? Here's the most interesting part of this to me is what team in the NFL is most likely to finish with the number 1 overall pick. I have a very, very strong opinion on that. I'll be curious to see if you all agree. We'll cover all of that tomorrow, and there will be no prime time tonight. So take the day to get your work done so that you can front load the work week, have some time to sit down and enjoy family, food, and football on the back end of the week. That's what we're all doing, I'd imagine. Get some work done today and then be back here first thing tomorrow. Until then, for JT, I'm Easton. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.